Hi there. Welcome back. I have with me today Terra Dawn, who is a mom of three, a homeschooler, and runs her business from her home as a habit transformation coach and a certified personal trainer. Terra's background is with at-risk families and youth, which has led her to a path that allows her to create a ripple effect in working with women to help them claim their self-worth through a holistic approach of movement, nutrition, and heart work. She hosts a virtual boot camp and is the creator of the Self-Worth Project, which allows women to dig into the habit transformation that gives them the lifestyle they deserve with the healthy mind, body, and heart they deserve. Welcome, Terra Dawn.
Thanks for having me, Stephanie. It's my honor.
Thank you. So we're here today to learn today a little bit more about habit changing and wellness in the context of separation and divorce. And many people who are separating, of course, have been having the feeling of really being stuck for many years. So we're going to talk a little bit more about ways to get through that and to help you to learn to thrive. All right, so let's talk about a starting point. So many people, as they feel stuck, how do they get unstuck? How does someone get motivated to make that change?
Well, generally in my experience, when I'm working with people that are going through separation and divorce, they've acknowledged they're stuck, and that's part of their desire for separation and divorce. And acknowledging they're stuck is the starting point. And then taking action and doing something about themselves as the individual. Quite often in my experience is what I see is that when we're in relationship and we're raising kids and we get into all of the stuff of a marriage, we forget about ourselves and we pour into our spouse, we pour into our children, we pour into our jobs, we pour into our community, and we forget about number one. And the stuckness comes from years of pouring out and nothing being poured back in. So it's focused on self and understanding that there needs to be some level of growth to pull out of that stagnancy that they've been experiencing.
Yeah, that's very true. Now, you talk about the habits. Now, as human beings, we're drawn to those habits and those routines. That's sort of part of our makeup. So how does one get out of that? How does someone shift their mindset to getting unstuck?
So getting out of a routine is actually the worst thing that you can do when you're going through chaos. Your routine and your structures and your habits are going to be part of the solution to keeping yourself sane, keeping yourself healthy, and keeping yourself on an even keel. What I have experienced in the past is that people just let go of everything and start to act with reckless abandon. They go into often very reckless behavior because they feel like they've been restricted within their relationship for so long. So if they are, it's about changing the habits and the routine. So whatever you used to be doing, it's now determining what you need to do now to help you stay in a healthy mindset. And so when I say stay in a healthy mindset, that's assuming that somebody's already in a healthy mindset. Shifting that mindset is that, understanding part of our accountability in how the routines and habits got there and being accountable for that piece. And when we become accountable about it, then we can understand where the changes maybe need to start and identify, well, if I do this differently, maybe I'm going to be able to accomplish this differently. And because it all has the ripple effect, it doesn't matter what, everything has an opposite reaction. And so, it's understanding our accountability essentially, and then shifting our habits and routines to keep them in a space where we are being productive through that shift and that change and that busyness and the healing that needs to happen through that.
Well, and I remember hearing somewhere where one of the important things as you're trying to change a routine, right? If you're in an unhealthy routine or behavior and you want to change that, it's actually about replacing that with something that's more healthy. And so if, for example, you're trying to have less alcohol in your life or something. If you go from, drinking every night while you're sitting on the couch and watching TV, which is your habit and your routine, for example, to watching TV, sitting on the couch, but drinking nothing, it can be very difficult to maintain that. Whereas if you replace that with tea or I don't know, some kind of a power drink or something that, sort of that's the, more nutritionally based or something. So instead of trying to cut something out completely, it's about shifting it so that it's making positive choices, but it's still in the routine kind of sense.
Well, and I can tell you that I have several clients that do the couch surfing with the snacks, with the wine, and it starts to back up on them and pile up on them in a number of sources and or a number of effects, whether it be they stay up way too late, they're now not getting sleep, they're drinking alcohol before their bed, so they're actually more sleep deprived, and it's a depressant. And so actually what I do with my clients, especially with my women, is I actually ask them to find something that they aren't sitting on the couch at all. I ask them to replace that whole scenario. So I ask them to find something that they love or that they used to love that they gave up because couch time was the only time they spent with their spouse. I see that happen a lot. That's our quality time is what I hear very, very often. And so, I encourage them to, the example that pops to mind is I have a client that was very much a couch surfer in the evening. She would stay up till midnight eating snacks and then not be able to get up and function well. And then she slipped into depression. So I actually asked her to find what she loved, and she really loved to write. So she started writing, and she started doing some short story writing. So she's actually starting to work into publishing something. And it's about following her passion and following where she's ignited and energized. And I think that's one of the positive things that can come out of this is that people can shift their habits into what ignites you, what excites you, and get back into the things that we kind of let go of because we're in the midst of, making our relationship work or running kids every night or whatever that looks like. It gives them an opportunity to focus back on themselves a little bit, men and women. For men, it gives them a little bit of time, maybe out in the man cave that they didn't get because they felt guilty or whatever the case may be, but shifting to something that they really genuinely loved, getting off the couch altogether.
Very true. Very true. So let's shift a little bit of our conversation onto wellness. Wellness has so many components to it. How would you define wellness? If we were to want to focus on such a thing, how would you define that?
Well, I view wellness, and it is often defined as a very holistic view. So wellness is about, our mindset. It is about what we're eating. It is about the activity we're getting in. It is about, it's about who we surround ourselves with, our environment. So when I look at wellness with my clients, I look at their physical environment, their emotional environment, their work environment, their friends, their family, all their career. They may be at a job that they love, or they may be at a job that they don't like. And that everything in our life contributes to our wellness as a whole.
And so during a separation and divorce, what would you tell our viewers as to why it's so important to focus on wellness and improving your wellness during a separation in particular?
Well, when we go through separation and divorce, we are going through a grief process. We are going through a complete life change. And the difference on how we get through that is being allowed to have those thoughts and feelings around the grieving. B, surrounding ourselves with our balcony people, who I would describe as the people that help you lift you up and keep you up on a positive. You have your safe people, the people that will hold it in the vault forever and will not let your venting out. And really decreasing the time you spend with your basement people. So those are the people that want to keep you down, want to keep you in your unhealthy habits, and really allow yourself to step into a better person, so that you can handle the grief, you can handle the emotions, you can handle the big feelings that come with separation and divorce. Because often we're not just talking about ourselves anymore, we're talking about our kids as well. And we are setting the example for our kids on how to manage stressful situations. And so when you set the example for your children that you're going to focus on taking care of yourself, and you're going to focus on staying positive and staying in a better space given the circumstances, that's what they're going to adopt as well. And it's going to help them transition into that resilience as well.
And it's like when I do yoga at home or I do my workouts online, my kids look at that and sometimes they come and join, right? And so they're adopting those healthy habits because they see mom doing it. I was just going to mention, as part of our courses, part of our premium courses, one of the lessons that we talk about is the spectator gallery, and it talks about filling your life with supportive rather than toxic people. And so I think that's the same kind of thing that you're talking about, the basement people and the and that sort of thing.
Balcony people.
Yeah, and the balcony. That's what I was thinking, upstairs.
Yeah.
The balcony people. And trying to make sure you know what supportive means and define it for yourself, and then go look for those people. Or if you have people that you want in your life and you now have analyzed that they're maybe toxic for you, how do you create those people, those same people, keep them in your life, but create them into a supportive person? So that's an interesting part that I also go into in our some of our course material. So as part of wellness, we can talk about fitness, and as a certified personal trainer yourself, of course, you probably love talking about that particular component of wellness. And so we know that fitness is so important as part of wellness, but it's even more important as you're going through separation and divorce, and to keep yourself active and that sort of thing. So why would you describe it as important? What about it is important?
Well, there's a number of reasons, and I'll start with talking about the actual physiological, psychological reasons. When we work out, when we exercise, it doesn't matter if it's dance, walking, running. It doesn't matter if it's, going to a group fitness class, yoga, lifting weights, whatever your flavor. It actually naturally boosts our endorphins, and those are our feel-good hormones. And what it also does is it reduces our cortisol. So when we are in stress mode and when we are in constant stress mode, our adrenal gland pumps out cortisol. It is receiving the stress, and that is our stress hormone. And what actually happens when we have an excess of cortisol, we are going into fight or flight. B, it actually impacts how we eat. And when we're in high stress, we either go into fight or flight, either starting or we binge, and binge usually on the not so awesome stuff because we're not feeling great about ourselves. So when we feel terrible, we eat terrible. And so that's the physiological side. Oh, yeah, right. And it triggers back to any emotional eating struggles that they're there. But, on the psychological level, for me personally, it's therapy. I put my headphones in and I play my music. I'm a weightlifter. And so I dive into my weights and I don't really talk to anybody. It alternately can become a new level of community. So when we go into the gym or when we're on a virtual boot camp or we're doing online, we now are encompassed by this new community that we all have the same goals. And I would be stressed to find somebody who is toxic in the fitness community. I've been in the fitness community for the better part of 25 years, and I have rarely found a toxic person in the fitness community. And so there's a number of reasons it can become a new social outlet that is healthy and positive and allow you to have some like-minded people around you that are new, that aren't familiar or aren't biased to your situation. So fitness can have so many different benefits beyond just maybe feeling better about our physique or maybe feeling better about the exterior. It's not always about the exterior. It's about that hormone balance, the endorphins kicking out the cortisol and really balancing that out, giving yourself that thinking time, that little bit of introverted time that we often don't really have, especially as women, men as well. But I think that, women are often the people that have 50 tabs in and only on and like 20 of them are working. So this allows us to kind of close some of those tabs and kind of just downgrade our brain a little bit. So, yeah.
So if someone was to want to get into a fitness routine, what suggestions would you give?
Explore where your comfort level is first. It can be very intimidating to step into a gym. I have a number of clients that work on all different formats. So I have clients that step into the gym and they utilize guided programs that I've given them. There's group fitness classes. There is virtual training where you're online, you're in the comfort of your own home and you get to work out alongside a professional. There, you can find walking groups, running groups.
So find what you
There's
like.
a number of,
It sounds,
find
find
what you
kind of what
love
your
and go
passion
with
is,
that.
because then
Yeah.
you'll continue that, right?
Yeah. If you go into something that you absolutely hate, you're going to quit every time. And sometimes we need to push ourselves out of that comfort zone a little bit and explore and be willing to explore. Yeah.
And for me, it's the stretching stuff. It's the yoga, and I know it's good for me, but it's really hard, and it's hard to commit to it. And so for me personally, I do what I love, and then I sort of accent that with the things I know I need and may not love. So it's that's not what's keeping me going, but it's what I know I need, and I'll maybe throw it in every once in a while when I have to. So when I know it's good for me.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
And we're going to turn to our last topic here, is that of nutrition. So I've understand that in the quest towards wellness, that nutrition can actually be one of the most important parts, sometimes even more important than fitness. And I don't know if that's just my perspective, or if that's really the case. But let's talk about nutrition and the importance of it, and how it can help as you're going through your own changes and you're wanting to better yourself.
100%. And you're actually very, very right. Nutrition is the most important component. What we see and experience is that people are drawn to these fad diets, especially when we're going through separation, because now they just want to feel better. They want to look better. It's like, I want to get back into this body, or I want to achieve this look, and what they tend to do is they tend to go into a fad diet. Or if they're really, really stressed out, they tend to starve themselves, or they binge eat. And so what happens is they're actually enhancing the cortisol. They're enhancing some of the stress hormones and some of those stress reactions. And what people don't know is that when we step into balanced eating, and when I say balanced, I mean the appropriate number of proteins, carbs, and fats, our body starts to function better. People want to go low carb because that's the fad. That's actually the worst thing that you can do for your body. Your body needs carbs. Your brain needs carbs to function. Your body needs carbs in order to develop muscle. If you're working out, you need protein. Your body needs that protein. And a lot of us are very protein deficient. So when we are missing out on those macronutrients, it really is actually quite detrimental to how clear we think, to how we react. If we're on high sugar diets, of course, we're going to be more wound up. We're going to sleep less. So balanced nutrition really helps us with our sleeping. It helps with every aspect of our emotional control and how we reason and function. And our, the logic behind our decision making isn't controlled by a substance like sugar or an excess of sugar, because sugar isn't bad either. But it's the right types of sugar, and an excess of is where we start to kind of go off the rails a little bit. And that's usually because we're sleep deprived and all the other things that are spillover effects. So when we can focus on our nutrition and really get honest about what we're consuming and focus on fueling our body, we're actually shifting the whole narrow pathway of how we're going to handle a situation, as opposed to if we're living on coffee and cigarettes and alcohol and sugar and all the bad stuff, right?
So it's interesting because out in the society, we often think of nutrition as directly associated with our body weight or our body image. And I think generally speaking, unless you're in the industry and really, understanding more about nutrition and the importance of nutrition, it sounds like it's so far beyond just your physical appearance. It's got so many different elements to it that, as you say, it's one of the most important and critical things to even to emotional regulation. And we know when we're going through separation and divorce that can be a real challenge, even at the best of times. And so you're actually helping yourself to be emotionally regulated by doing things like your workout, as you say, in whatever kind of workout that you like. Just get active, get moving. And, in nutrition, if you can eat a healthy and balanced diet and learn more about that, then you can actually emotionally regulate yourself, and you might be able to handle the separation or divorce even better. And what we're really looking for in these interview series is how to help parents to be more healthy and thriving. Because what we know is that by having parents healthy and thriving through their separation and divorce, we know that kids will then be healthy and thriving, and parents can help kids build that resilience as they're developing. So it sounds like, it's so important as parents really focus on their health and wellness going through separation, can really help them to help themselves better, help their children, help their family, help their whole situation, and to really get unstuck. I think it all comes back to being unstuck and moving in the right direction, in a positive direction for your own self. All right.
Absolutely.
So to wrap up here, let's talk about your top 3 tips. So I know I gave you some advance notice on this. So you've got your top 3, as you described earlier. You said you probably have the top 25, but for today's purpose, we'll go with your very top 3, and let's hear it.
Okay. So tip number 1, start messy. I hear a lot of people say, well, I will get started on, eating better and an exercise regimen when blah, 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 blah happens. No, start messy. Don't wait. Waiting is actually the worst thing that you can do when you're going through a stressful situation. So start messy. It doesn't have to be organized. It doesn't have to be, just start somewhere and start where you know that you are going to be on some level successful, where you feel pulled to start. Okay.
Perfect. Love it. Number 2.
Number 2, if you don't know where to start, connect with a professional that is willing to do a free consultation with you, that will help you, direct you to the proper direction. Not all professionals do free consultations. The really good ones do. And when I say that is because I have a number of colleagues that are in the same line of work as me, and we all do free consultations because it's not about us. It's about you and your goals. And it's about what you want to achieve.
And it's so connecting too. Right? It's about connecting
absolutely
with the right professional, right? That works for you.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing is that if I have somebody connect with me and they want to know how to start, in one phone call, I can identify whether they're the right client for me. We all have our identifiable client. We don't want to work with everybody because then we're not effective. We're not effective for you or anybody else. So the cool thing is if I know that the person that connects with me is not my ideal client, I can refer them to a number of people where I think that they would be a really great fit. And it allows us to open up our pool of resources. And I often on a free consultation will give a number of tips, as well as sometimes a free trial, depending on where somebody is at, to say, hey, give this a shot, see if you like it. If you don't like it, if it's a need, that's absolutely fine. And you're going to find that, a lot of fitness professionals and health wellness professionals very much will go into that. We want to make sure that you are doing the best thing for you. We are not here for us, we're here for you. And so, tip number 2, if you don't know where to start, connect with somebody that you identify with and see if they offer a free consultation and spend that hour on the phone. It's completely worth it.
And the nice thing about personal training and the kind of coaching that you do is it really is international in nature. And so if someone wanted to connect with you, they can get your information and connect with you, even if they're in Australia or the US or Europe or anywhere. And same thing if someone is in those other jurisdictions and they happen to find someone in a different jurisdiction, there's really no international boundaries really for the type of work that you do. So
absolutely.
That's great. And for your particular type of coaching, even the personal training, my understanding is it's all completely virtual, completely online. So you really could help someone that's really anywhere in the world. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun because it has 2 different formats. So it's finding what's best for the individual.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Okay, tip number 3.
Tip number 3 is recruit a friend, whether they are just a support or they are now your new gym buddy or they are now your person to hold you accountable and to support you. That's the cool thing about stepping in and working with a professional, even if it's short term. Quite often we have accountability and support communities. But if you connect with a friend and recruit a friend to come with you, now it's become a social thing. It's not just and you now have an appointment to show up for. I think one of the biggest things that people struggle up for is that they haven't been showing up for themselves for a really, really long time. But when they have to show up for somebody else, dang right, they're going to be there. Yeah. And so when you recruit somebody to hold you accountable and to have that supportive peace with, and that you can do it. It now starts to form a sense of community. And I think that's where a lot of people miss out, is on that community and that connection in being healthy together. We have lots of community and connection around some of the undesirable, but around the desirable. And when we're looking to make change, you've got to have somebody that's going to be your ally as opposed to your accomplice. So finding a supportive person to help you through it is really crucial.
Yeah. And I have personal experience with that too, because I've got a workout buddy who, you know, sort of one of my best friends, and we text each other every day saying, oh, I got my workout gear on, or, you know, oh, I got my workout done, and what have you done? And, you know, and there's been a few days we've been honest with each other. They said, if you hadn't texted me, I would not have worked out that day, but you texted me. You don't have to, you know, I didn't need to hear, you know, you better get your butt in gear. All I needed to hear was, I'm done mine. How about you? And all of a sudden, you know, I've got my workout clothes on. So that's definitely helpful. Well, thank you so much, Terra Dawn, for talking with us today about habit changing, wellness, fitness, nutrition, especially in the context of separating and divorcing families. I know our viewers will really take a lot of good out of this. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you for asking me. It was my pleasure.